How much debt do you have?
Like 168,000.
I was laid off, I had no emergency fund, and ended up in $72,000 worth of debt.
People are getting $1,800 a month car payments for 84 months.
Welcome to the Audit Room, where we analyze real financial decisions from real people. We break down what went wrong and then provide feedback and helpful insights that we can all learn from. Unfortunately, the first clip that we're starting this series off with is a pretty brutal one. See, this girl got fired from her job, and I can't blame her for that. That's a really unfortunate situation, but she didn't work for the next 9 months. And to fund her lifestyle, she just used credit cards. She maxed out 3 different credit cards, totaling over $10,000 worth of debt. And at 23 years old, this is really hard to watch.
I thought it would be funny to show y'all how much debt I've racked up since getting fired in September and being unemployed for the last 9 months. It's pretty bad. I only have 3 cards and I've maxed out majority of them. So here's one credit card. Here's my second, which is maxed out and actually over, interestingly enough. Same for this one. Yep. That's me. Meaning that's a whopping $11,632.98. By the way, I'm 23. So, there's that.
Let me get this straight. This girl spent $11,632.98 of credit card debt, but she didn't spend any of those dollars to get a simple $3 9-volt battery to stop her smoke detectors from beeping. Now, jokes aside, I really do empathize with this girl since she lost her job. I mean, 9 months of not working seems a little bit over excessive, but hey, I don't know her situation. The lesson that we can all learn from this, though, is if you do have to take on debt to pay for living expenses, never ever do it with credit card debt. There's way better options out there, like getting a personal loan from the bank is still debt, and it's still not going to be optimal for your situation, but it sure beats the 25% or even higher interest rate that you're going to be putting on a credit card debt. And it's going to be closer to something like 7% interest rate getting a personal loan. So if you're in a pinch, that's oftentimes a smarter idea. And I don't know her specific situation, but hey, if you got to move back in with your parents, do that, because you're going to be saving so much money on rent, and not having to take out debt in your early 20s especially is just imperative to your long-term success. All right, the next clip we're going to watch highlights the extraordinary amount of vehicle debt that Americans are getting into that I didn't even realize was possible.
How much debt do you have?
Like 168,000.
None of which is a house. Why do you have 2 car loans?
I have 2 vehicles.
Why?
So it's 58 miles for me to drive to work every day, and the truck is an 8-cylinder Silverado.
Good, get rid of it.
I can't. I ended up getting like a really great deal on that truck.
Yeah, really great deal. You owe $60,724.55, making $24,000 a year.
Am I hearing this correctly? He owes $60,000 on a pickup truck, and he makes $24,000 a year. I don't even know how they gave him a loan for that. That just highlights how predatory these car dealerships can be sometimes. This situation is really, really bad, and it's a huge red flag. It just kind of shows that the car salesman sold him a car knowing dang well that it was probably going to get repossessed, because feasibly, I don't see how you can afford to pay a $60,000 loan when you're making $24,000 a year. That truck costs nearly 3 times his annual salary. That's just crazy. They used to recommend not buying a house that costs 3 times your annual salary, and this guy has it in a depreciating asset. On the topic of auto loan delinquency, this next clip highlights how bad it has gotten in the United States these past couple of years with auto loans.
Bro, when did the car market get cooked? People are getting $1,800 a month car payments for 84 months, and that's normal? Like, this person is financing $102,000 and then paying $54,000 in interest over the lifetime of this car note. And again, it's 12.74% for 84 freaking months. Now, we just got the latest data on auto loan delinquencies, and you can see right here that over the past decade, auto loan delinquencies are up about double what they were 10 years ago.
60-day delinquencies, and what we're showing you here is average transaction prices, which, by the way, at more than $48,000, that's what you and I are paying at a dealership on average. almost at a record high. According to Experian, 60-day auto loan delinquencies at an all-time high of 0.99% of all open loans that they were checking. 30-day auto delinquencies also close to a record high, highest since the recession in 2008 and 2009 at 3.17%.
Wow, this is actually kind of terrifying. 1% of all auto loans are resulting in a repossession right now. If you think about it, that's hundreds of vehicles a day all across America that the banks are taking back because people couldn't pay back the loans. And the fact that auto loan delinquency is at its highest point since 2008 is literally a recession indicator. This next clip that we're gonna watch is a terrifying example of what we call lifestyle creep. And it shows even if you have a great salary, things can go south extremely quick if you're not keeping them in check.
In 2022, I was making $126,000 a year. 2023, I was laid off. I had no emergency fund and ended up in $72,000 worth of debt. It took me 6 months to find a job, and here we are. 2 years later, I've only knocked down that debt by $5,000. And all of this could have been avoided if it was budgeting. A 7-year-old version of me must have thought that budgeting and making that much money was contradictory because it never crossed my mind. Looking back at it now is so painful because where could I be right now if I had just been more responsible then? Right now, my job doesn't cover I have to work doing side hustles just to make the minimums on my bills. And I have to work more beyond that, afford groceries and gas without going more into debt. My retirement plan is non-existent. And if it sounds like I'm trying to scare you, I am. Because I can't do anything to fix my mistakes. And the only thing that I can do is putting this nightmare that is my financial situation out there, showing them what can happen if you don't take care of your finances.
I can tell this girl is being 100% genuine, and I find that to be actually really cool because most people on TikTok share their terrible financial situation just for the engagement, just for the rage bait, and just for the views. Well, this girl is definitely different. She's sharing her experience with her terrible financial decision over the past couple of months because she genuinely wants to help other people. She is actually terrified that she made a horrible decision that affected her for, let's be honest, the rest of her life. And she wants to make sure that other people aren't making the same bad decisions that she did. So she uploaded an example of her mistake specifically to help other people. It's a very selfless thing to do, and I really respect it. All right, this is the last clip of the video, but this is a good one. This guy here is calling out influencers who are living a fake lifestyle and portraying that they're rich to their followers when the reality might be quite the opposite.
Okay, so I don't know about y'all, but I've noticed that there's a huge influx of broke influencers on TikTok that are begging for money, and some of them even being involved in scams. Yesterday, I saw this TikToker who had almost 1 million subscribers or followers, and she was involved in a GoFundMe scam, and the GoFundMe got shut down. And it's just like, the problem with so many of these TikTokers is that, or any influencer, is that they're living above their means. And something that my grandma taught me as a kid that I'll never forget is she said, if you cannot buy something with cash in hand right now, then you cannot afford it. Or if the money isn't in your checking account right now, the full amount, you can't afford it. And it's like, I've seen so many scandals over the years of influencers, from YouTube or any, community that have gone broke because they start to live above their means.
The most important message from this clip is to remember that there are so many influencers out there that are funding their extravagant lifestyle on enormous piles of life-changing debt. And that's not the good kind of life-changing. And it's important to not compare your life to fabricated lifestyles portrayed on the internet. His grandmother also had some really solid advice. If you don't have the money in the bank right now, then you can't afford it. Just don't buy it. I realize that this isn't always the case. There are exceptions. Like the ultra wealthy will use debt to avoid taxes as it's much cheaper. And the debt can be used to buy appreciating assets like a house or to grow a business. But for the vast majority of people, this advice would have saved them from a mountain of stress. This first clip highlights that in our economy right now, a lot of young people have just straight up given up on finances. And this guy is going to share his opinion on why he kind of has that attitude.
I've been going out to Starbucks to get my coffee every single day, and I realize that that's one of those things that people are like, oh, that's a very poor financial decision. So I considered trying to cut down on it. But then I realized that like right now, literally everything is a poor financial decision. Everything that we do is a poor financial decision. Putting 50% of your income towards rent is a poor financial decision. Taking out a student loan for hundreds of thousands of dollars where there's essentially no ROI whatsoever is a poor financial decision. Breaking your ankle, horrible financial decision. You want to get sick? That's a very fiscally irresponsible thing to do, kid. I'm sorry. Literally everything is a poor financial decision based on the definition that we have been told of a poor financial decision. So I'm just gonna enjoy my Starbucks, like whatever. And I think that's the way that like a lot of young people feel right now, is it's like we've kind of lost the ability to build for the future. So people are just like, whatever, I'm just like, why would I save now? I'm just gonna enjoy my life because this is all gonna come crashing down at some point. So I might as well have my little Starbucks. And
now, I really understand where he's coming from here, but there's a few things I disagree with. For example, I actually don't think buying Starbucks is a bad financial decision. If you can afford Starbucks and you don't have to put it on a credit card and pay for it with debt, and it makes you happy, then go buy Starbucks. I don't think anybody who is financially literate is saying that don't go buy Starbucks. I think they're saying don't buy fast food on debt, because paying a 25% interest rate on a credit card is going to be terrible when you have to go pay that later down the road. I would also like to point out here that building wealth is a long and gruesome journey. You have to stay optimistic the entire time, because sometimes it can feel like you're just spinning your wheels. But wealth is not built overnight. Wealth is built with consistency over many, many years. And it can take a long time before we start to see that exponential bell curve when our net worth starts increasing rapidly. Okay, this next clip blew my mind, and it highlights the state of panic that these car lots are in right now, trying to pawn off electric vehicles where the company went out of business onto anybody without any remorse or care for what this person is going to do when this car is coming with zero warranty and zero customer service.
I was at a car dealership, and the guy that works there comes up to me and asked me questions about what kind of car I wanted, what my budget was, and asked me if I wanted an EV or a gas car. And I said, I don't care. And I proceeded to tell him what my budget was, and we go from there. So we go outside looking for cars, and the first car that he shows me was a Fisker Ocean 3. So I go around the car looks great. It looks like a Range Rover. The inside was amazing. My asked him to pop the hood, and he said it's an EV. And then he proceeds to tell me about the range and everything, and I was like, okay, cool. But then we go to the price part, and it was like extremely cheap. Like cheap for the feature that it has, like with the design, the interior is so nice. I don't get why the cars were so cheap. So I proceed to ask him. The company went bankrupt last year. That was the catch. He said they don't run no more, so it's going to be really hard to like find spares parts for the car. So I was like, what if I get stranded? And he was like, GG's, bro.
Okay, this guy is extremely lucky that the car salesman at least let him know that the company that made the car is actually out of business now. Can you imagine if someone were to buy that car without realizing that the company that made it went out of business? You're talking no warranty, no anything, and then if something on the car were to break, you would just be out of luck completely. There would be absolutely nothing you could do about it. It really just shows the state of complete decay that these car lots are going through right now. It seems like just about all of them have just a complete abundance of vehicles that nobody wants to buy right now. It's definitely a buyer's market, which is a great thing, because just 5 years ago, we were getting marked up at insane prices. And I'm almost positive that the car market is soon to crash, because nobody's buying these things. Unfortunately, this next clip is doom and gloom as well, but let's go ahead and see what she has to say.
I am financially irresponsible. I am. I don't have a savings account. I'm 29 years old, and I no longer have a savings account. I'm making the most minimum payments on my student loans. I graduated college back in 2018, still paying off those loans. The most minimum payments. I'm living back at home. I don't have my own car. I obviously don't have a home. Instead, you know what I do? I buy tickets on impulse to go to Italy, to go to Europe. I use Afterpay, I use Affirm, I use Klarna. I get my groceries on Instacart for the whole buy now, pay later feature. And I don't care. I really don't. Like, I'm being so for real right now.
Now, I understand that the economy is really hard right now, and it can sometimes seem like things are rigged. And trust me, I'm in the same age demographic as these people who have just given up. And giving up is one thing, but actively destroying your financial future is another. Because if you ever decide in the future that, hey, I want to settle down, I want to have a family, I want to have kids, you're going to have this massive debt looming over you for the rest of your life. And if you just keep putting it off, you're pushing a snowball down a hill that's getting worse and worse and worse. So instead of saying, oh, that's future me's problem, like, making change right now is going to prevent you from being literally so miserable down the road. Now, thankfully, this seems like this girl has a support system. Obviously, you know, she might be living with her parents because there's no way that you could be putting everything on Klarna or whatever and still paying for rent. It just seems impossible. Okay, this is the last clip for this whole video, but it's a good one because this girl used to be a car salesman and she's exposing the entire industry of how it's corrupt and how they were pushing these scummy deals on kids who didn't quite understand it yet.
I was working at Mazda and watching people get absolutely ripped off with their car finance every single day. Customers would come in needing a car loan and we had to mark up their interest rates by 2% just because it was legal so the company could make more money. I would see young people signing loans that they did not understand, paying thousands more than they needed to because nobody explained their options. And the worst part was I was part of that problem. I was trained to maximize profits, not help people get the best deal, and I literally couldn't sleep at night doing this job any longer. So I left and I became a finance broker. Now I compare 25 different lenders instead of pushing one bank's products. Everyone deserves better than bank speak and just one option. That's why I do what I do now.
This girl restores my faith in humanity. It shows that she actually has a moral compass. See, she was a car salesman and she was just charging people thousands and thousands of extra dollars that they didn't need to be spending just to fill her own pockets. And she goes on to admit that she knows it was a bad thing, and she even had a hard time sleeping at night. I couldn't imagine doing something like that and knowing I was being predatory and I was a part of the problem, and all of these young people out there that were buying vehicles and just getting terrible deals on them and ultimately screwed over in the end, knowing that she can, at the end of the day, become a part of the solution instead of the problem is an awesome thing to watch. This first clip is a crazy one. This guy makes a ton of money, like $60,000. But as you're going to see, just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean that you can't be financially irresponsible.
How the f does this degenerate make so much money? How does he do so well? How do you afford a Ferrari? You just moved to Miami. You're doing all this crazy.
I do spend a lot of my money. In terms of my peers around me, I definitely spend more of my income than them. Like, I know other people probably save their money, but the problem is I've had such solid cash flow for literally 5 years, and it's ruined my idea of saving money to me. For 5 years, bro, I've had fantastic amount of cash flow that I'm so grateful for. Every month I'm spending 30, 40 grand, but I'm still making 60, 70, $80,000 or $100,000 a month.
So if what he's saying is true, he's making over $60,000 a month, but he's also spending $40,000 a month. Now, the main point I want to drive home with this one is that high income streams can sometimes be extremely volatile, meaning that they can leave just as fast as they came. And if he's used to spending $40,000 a month when he's making $60,000 a month, the biggest problem is if that income stream ever dries up, or heck, even if he just starts making $40,000 a month, he is going to be completely broke. Even though he's driving a Ferrari, even though he's partying Miami, this is one of the biggest problems, a lot of rich people have. Football players, you see it all the time, people who win the lottery. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how much money you earn. If you spend that amount or more, you will go broke. Being broke does not discriminate based on how much money you have. Okay, this next clip is from a guy who made some financial decisions in his 20s that he completely regrets, and he's sharing how that's affecting him now that he's in his 30s.
I really ruined myself financially in my 20s. Here's why. In my 20s, I had, oh God, do I have some poke bowl sauce on my beard? Anyways, in my 20s, I really had no concept of personal finance. I thought that my main goal was to increase my salary and I would be okay. Needless to say, I was a bit of a dumbass. There was a point, I think in my 20s, my savings, like my total savings. Luckily, I was good with contributing to my 401k because my mom kept getting on my case about it. I was like, oh, fine, fuck it, I'll put money into my 401k. But that was actually really good because that was one good financial habit that I did do. So long story short is I had savings, my career was going up, I made more money. But my spending also went up, so this is mistake number 2 is lifestyle creep. Mistake number 1 is not actually saving enough money or just keeping my savings at a set amount. So by the time I became 27, I wanted to start my own business because I was tired of corporate America. I want to be free, all this shit. I actually ended up at 44K in debt, and then from 2019, now I'm in my 30s, right? I spent around 2 years just paying off that debt. So that's mistake number 3, if I'm counting correctly. It's getting into heavy debt. And to this day, like my net worth is, I'm not going to reveal it on this channel or on this account, but I'm definitely a few $100,000 below what it could have been had I been a lot more smart in my 20s. Like, I'm not going to cry over not investing and buying Bitcoin when it was a few $100s each or $1,000 each, like in 2016 or 2015. But I will say that I made a lot of dumb financial mistakes in my 20s. Luckily, the good thing that I did do was I did max out my 401k, which has had pretty good returns at this moment. You never know. But at least I did that right. But to really recap, I got into heavy debt. I didn't save past a certain fixed amount. I also had lifestyle creep. These are 3 things that I would say if you're younger, or even right now, if you're in your 30s or 40s, don't fall into that trap, because you could be actually giving up hundreds of thousands of dollars down the road. So learn from my mistakes. Sometimes, honestly, I just feel this pressure in life because I'm not where I want to be financially. That's more of a mindset thing. But I would also say in my 20s, I did kind of mess up a little bit, and learn from my mistakes and, don't repeat them, and you will be in a much better financial position in your 30s versus where I am right.
I really commend this man for going on the internet and sharing his mistakes for the sole purpose of helping somebody that's younger than him so they don't fall into the same trap. It's an awesome world that we can live in right now where just everybody can share their off-the-cuff experiences on TikTok or whatever. It's so easy, and there's so many people out there where we can learn from them. Whether we learn from people's success stories or we learn from people's failures, there's so many different stories and information that we can compare our own lives to make an informed decision about what we should do with our lives. With that being said, a good example to take from what he was saying too is hindsight is always 20/20. We would all be millionaires if we knew what we knew now back in 2012. We would have all bought Bitcoin and we'd all be rich. But that can actually be a pretty bad way to think about things, because it can just make you look for that next get rich quick scheme, like we all saw Bitcoin blow up, so let's look for the next meme coin. It's just way better financial advice to, instead of trying to find the next big thing that's going to pop off quick, it's way easier to put time in the market rather than timing the market. And I know that kind of sounds like, the stereotypical boomer thing to say about investment advice, but it's true. There's so many index funds and stuff out there that you can just, put your money in, and you don't have to look at it and you don't have to think about it. And it's so stress-free. And I know he was also talking about his 401k. Well, since he has his 401k maxed out every single year for that time frame because his mom was making him, I am sure he is light years ahead of the average American, even though he had to spend that couple of years paying off that huge debt that he took out to try and start his business. So honestly, you know, he made mistakes and he's sharing that with the internet, but it doesn't sound like he did terrible. Okay, this next one is about a girl who's over $40,000 in debt at the age of 28. Let's hear her story.
I am 28 years old and I am in $40,722 in debt, and I want to talk about it. And before I break down my debt, I just want to say, you know, growing up, my family, we didn't have those money conversations. I didn't have anyone in my life that could teach me, you know, about all these financial things that I'm starting to learn now. But like when I was young and I started getting credit cards, like I didn't know any better. I was so naive. Why did 21-year-old me feel the need to have 7 credit cards? I don't know, but it happened and now I'm here because of it. And I just really want to talk about it. So many people are in debt, they just don't talk about it. So I am here to talk about it, and hopefully this can help someone that is also struggling with the same thing. Here's the breakdown on my debt, and mind you, I don't have a car, so I don't have a car loan or anything, and I don't have a mortgage or anything, so all of my debt is loans, student loans, and credit card debt. To start with my loans, I have an Upstart loan, which is $11,891. And I have a SoFi loan, which is $18,630. And then I have my student loans, which is $8,370. And then for my credit cards, I have a Best Buy credit card that has $1,685 on it, my Chase credit card, which has $145 on it, and then my Apple credit card, which I regret ever getting this card, but I have $4,205 on it. All right, so how did we get here? How did I let this happen? I honestly, starting young with all the credit cards that I had, I just fell into the, I guess, rat race and going to stores. It was always, you know, if I saw something I wanted, I just got it, and I was like, I'll just put it on my credit card and I'll figure it out later, or I'll pay it off, like whatever it was. And then sometimes I would pay it off, sometimes I ended up spending too much that I couldn't pay it off, so then it would leave me with a balance, and then I would keep doing that and doing that. And then before I knew it, I had such a high balance on my credit card, that on multiple credit cards, that I then had to take out a loan to pay off those credit cards to consolidate that debt, because it was just too overwhelming for me, and I did it all over again. For me, the little purchases here and there, 50 bucks here, 50 bucks there, 100 bucks there, like it adds up. And if you're not tracking, and if you're not truly understanding what's coming in and what's going out, you kind of just get lost and you don't even realize. And before you know it, you're in a situation where you don't even understand how you got there, but you know how you got there. And it's not what I just want to say. It's not worth it. The way to be in control is truly track your finances and budget. And my net worth is negative $17,048. You have to face your finances. So every single day I have to look at my debt in the face and be like, all right, we're taking steps towards, you know, clearing this debt.
I really hope that this girl makes the decisions that she needs to make to get back on track and get out of this debt. It's not even the worst debt in the world, but it seems like she continues to make the same mistakes over and over again. And the reason I say that is because she said she had 7 credit cards and she showed us the debt on those credit cards. But one of the loans I also noticed was a SoFi loan, which was $18,000. So basically, this is what I think happened. I think she had a bunch of credit card debt, and then she did what we would call consolidation. So instead of paying the 30% interest on all those credit cards, she got the SoFi loan, which SoFi consolidates debt, but it depends on your credit score and other factors, just like any other loan that you would get in real life. So when I look up, you know, the interest rate of a SoFi loan, it's anywhere from 8% to 35%. So in all reality, if she is consolidating credit card debt with the SoFi loan, it might not be like that much better than the credit card. You know, we might be talking in the 20s percentage of interest rate. Well, just the fact that she consolidated all of her credit card debt at one point, and then now she has those, you know, couple more credit cards, especially the Apple one which had like $4,000. It leads me to believe that since she consolidated the debt in the past, that she would have done all of her credit cards. She wouldn't have just consolidated half of her credit cards, and then the other half just pay the balance off on them. So it just leads me to believe that she consolidated all of her credit card loan at one point, which was that $18,000. And then she went ahead and just got more and more credit cards. So like I said, I really hope the best for her. But this is one of those things where you have to live the next couple of your years buying nothing and doing nothing with your money but just paying off the debt if you ever want to get out of that situation. And this will lead people to like literally just give up, because it is literally that hard to dedicate the next 5 years of your life to do nothing but work and pay off debt. And I think that's just the most important message of this is you never want to get into that situation, because you become a prisoner to the debt collectors. That for my first 1,000 subscribers on this channel, I am going to be doing a cash giveaway. So if you want to become eligible for that free cash giveaway, just go ahead and subscribe to my channel and leave a comment and like one of my videos, and you will be eligible for the free cash giveaway. All right, we're starting off strong with this first clip, and it's not what the girl says. Just wait till we get to the comment section and you'll see.
Okay, so I've been at car dealerships all day since like 9:30 this morning. I finally found a car, got a new mom car. I'm nosy. I want to know, what do you pay for your car, especially if you drive an SUV? Because I thought $340 was a lot. That's what I was paying. Now I'm paying a little bit more. But all the dealership guys are telling me $340 is a low payment. $340 is a low payment. So what are you paying for your SUV?
This user says $587 for a 2025 Honda CR-V Sport Hybrid. So what I find really interesting about this is the amount of people that are commenting on this video and not fully understanding how an auto loan even works. Well, this girl says, rule of thumb, if it's $10,000, your payment should be $200 a month. If it's $30,000, it should be $600 a month. If it's $40,000, it should be $800 a month, so on and so on. But this comment is completely disregarding the main deciding factors of what a person would be looking at when they wanted to get an auto loan, like interest rate, for example. The amount you pay per month is actually one of the least important things on an auto loan. What you pay for the life of the loan and what your interest rate is and how many months, so you can do the math, is actually the parts of the loan that matters. Otherwise, you don't actually know what you're paying for at the end of the day. Another person replied, our payment for our $35,000 Ford Explorer back in 2019 was under $400. Again, nobody is really addressing interest rates here. Yeah, everything before COVID was different. True. Credit score basically determines how high your payment is, at least in my experience. Credit score does determine in a roundabout way. Credit score really ultimately determines your interest rate on your loan. And if your credit score is lower, inevitably you're going to have a higher interest rate on your loan. The people who are giving you that auto loan can just stretch that loan out for months and months and years, and they can make your payment extremely low, but you can still have an extremely high interest rate over years and years. So it seems like you're not paying a lot per month, but then you realize, well, this loan is stretched out over 7 years, and the grand total you're paying for the car is actually a lot more than what it's worth. It doesn't seem surprising how many people get so underwater on their loans, making decisions like this without really understanding how all this stuff works. $995.58. Those $300 payments are long gone, considering how much new 3-row SUVs are. Alright, I am about to blow these TikTokers' minds. Take a look on the screen here. We have an auto loan. The car is $30,000, 24-month term, a 2% interest rate. The monthly payments for this one is going to be a whopping $1,276. But check out this little pie chart right here where it gives you the loan breakdown. 98% of this loan is the principal, meaning the dollars that are going towards the actual car, and then 2% of that is going to the interest. So you're only paying $628.99 towards the interest of the car, which isn't a bad deal. Now, let's look at the other end of this. We can get this same loan down to a $308 payment per month, but that does not mean that it's a better deal. We have the same payment for the car, $30,000, but look at this one. It's over 200 months. So all we did was stretch that out. And because you stretch a loan out like that, you're going to end up paying a higher interest rate. Look, this one's at 10%, and this is only $308 per month. So a better deal, right? You're only paying $300 a month. That seems like a great deal. But check out the breakdown. 51% of the vehicle is interest. So you actually pay more money towards the interest of the vehicle than the vehicle itself. Because remember, the vehicle is $30,000 and you ended up paying $31,742 over the life of the entire loan. So it's important to not get tricked. Just because the monthly payment is lower does not mean the loan is a better deal any way whatsoever. You've got to look at the whole picture here. 2023 Escalade, $1,400. My boys are grown, so it was time to upgrade from the constant Yukons and Suburbans I've always driven. Then the creator of this video gassed her up and replied, "Dang girl, good for you!" Explanation point. Explanation point. Well, you see, when I was a child, just 12 years old, I thought we were living the dream because my dad purchased a 2001 Yukon for $3,500 back in the year of 2009. And I thought we were a rich family back then. And the funniest part about this is you have to buy the vehicle every 5 years trope is so just turned upside down when you realize that my dad is still driving that vehicle that he purchased in 2009, which is from 2001, for $3,500. He's still driving that vehicle today. Yeah, I can go drive that vehicle right now, and it still runs just like it did back when I was 12 years old. I'm 29 now. This girl is saying she pays $1,200 a month for a 2025 Jeep Wagoneer. Someone replied, "You pay $1,200 a month for a car?" She replies then to that saying, "I do, but I waited a long time to have my dream car. Once all 5 kids were grown, I got what I wanted." Another girl replies, "Good for you. All my kids are adults now, and I'm thinking, what car do I want for me now?" This last comment certainly restores my faith in humanity. This person states, "I paid $19,000 in cash. No payment." Ashley, the original creator, says, "Yay." I really do think Ashley is a financially savvy girl. I think she's making good decisions. If you do have to finance a car, $300 whatever dollars is not that much money, and she probably has a low interest rate, and she probably did the math and figured out that this car was a good deal for her. Unfortunately, this next clip is of the OG finance YouTuber Graham Stephan talking with Caleb Hammer, the host of Financial Audit. The subject is how bad these auto loans have gotten over the past couple of years.
The average new car payment is $800 a month. That's insanity.
Most auto loan places are able to give you the loan that you want by just extending out the term, even if the interest rate's 20-25%.
Yeah.
It's scary. When you look into auto loans, they're not regulated the same way that student loans are, or with mortgages or even credit cards. Credit card reviews your income in such a way where they're not going to give you too much of a limit, but auto loans are very unregulated. They could sell these off privately without there being a rule out there that says, "Oh, we can't qualify you."
$800 as the average just seems outrageous to me. And the fact that these auto loan companies don't have to follow the same rules as the mortgage companies or the banks or any other company that gives out loans just seems outrageous to me. It's no wonder that auto loans are the most predatory towards the average consumer. Well, it's because the government doesn't care about them. The government expects you to get scammed. And they're doing absolutely nothing about that.
Honestly, this is my favorite car in our lineup, the 25 Genesis G80. I just love how it looks. Honestly, I prefer our 4 cylinders over our 6 cylinders. It feels faster, to be honest with you. 300 horsepower. This Capri Blue, this is gorgeous. This camel interior just looks like me. You know what I mean? It's just so nice. Full 27-inch screen. It's just so comfortable. I would 100% take this over any Mercedes E-Class. Just 100%.
Hey guys, this crappier version of the car model that the manufacturer makes more of a profit on, I actually like this one better. You know, despite the popular opinion, this car is so much better. I enjoy the lower horsepower. I enjoy not having a touchscreen. I enjoy just having all those creature comforts removed from the car because, honestly, yeah, why would you need that? You see how dumb that sounds? There's no way that these salesmen actually think this car is better in any way, shape, or form. These cars have just been sitting on their lot for too long, and they're trying to get rid of them. So, don't let them pawn those pieces of crap off on you. This first clip is about the temptation that people feel when they want a new car.
Every day I go back and forth with myself about getting a new car. I want a new car so bad, but I have been car payment free for 3 years now.
I'm honestly pretty surprised with the comment section on this one. No ma'am, I'm not paying $500 plus on a car. The best car is one paid off. Don't do it. Put a savings account for next new car, pay in cash. Pretend like you have one. Save it in your savings for 6 months. This is honestly a great idea because just pretend like you're paying a car payment and save for 6 months. And then it's like you are paying a car payment and you don't have to pay any of the interest rate on the car because you're going to be paying for it cash. I don't care how good it looks. I never want another car payment. 3 payments away from no payment. I was honestly really impressed with her comment section, I'm not going to lie. Usually people are like, well, you only live once, just go into debt and ruin the rest of your life. You'll love driving that new car. Do you like free money? Because I am doing a free money giveaway once I hit 1,000 subscribers. All you have to do is subscribe, like this video, and comment, and you are eligible for a free money giveaway of $100. And then once we hit our next milestone, the stakes get even higher. So get signed up now and go ahead and subscribe. This next girl shares her own opinion on buying a new car. So let's see what she has to say.
Don't buy that new car. Don't do it. Don't do it. I know it's cooler than your current car and it has like all the bells and whistles and it has the colored interior and it just looks cooler and you want to feel cooler and you want to feel like you're it, but don't do it. And here's why. I am 27 years old and I've always drove cash cars. I never really cared about like how it looked. I was grateful for what I had. I thought they were great. And then I got married and you know, he wanted to get a new car. So we've got a car, financed a car, love the car, hate the payments, hate them. $700 a month for a car payment is not fun when that's what jobs are pretty much paying you now every week or two. Like that, it doesn't make sense to pay for a car that you're driving to work to pay for the car. It's a rat race. It's not worth it. Stop worrying about looking cool for your friends. I don't care. You know what's cool? You having delayed gratification. You staying in your bucket car, not caring about what people are saying about you while they rack up debt and have to work to pay off their car.
Nobody listened to her. I am a car salesman. Before my mom passed away, she said I should have gotten that new car. The money is not going with me when I die. Love life, work hard, play hard. I drive a new 2024 and love it. Everyone's values are different. I'm glad that makes you happy. You know, it's kind of sad that we live in such a consumeristic society that the first thing you think about not being able to take with you when you pass away is buying a new car. I really could care less about driving a new car before I die. The only thing that makes me happy are the people in my life. not materialistic things. This user says, get the new car, but buy within your budget. Honestly, I don't think anybody is arguing that a millionaire shouldn't go out and buy a new car if that's what they want. I think the biggest concern here is people just worrying about the payment of the car and paying 20% extra in interest rate to get the new car as a status symbol instead of something that they need to get from A to B that's reliable. But we only live once. Enjoy things to the fullest. Life is short. Enjoy it responsibly. Get the car. Honestly, at a certain point, this is no different than going up to somebody who has a gambling addiction and telling them, hey, life is short. It doesn't matter what anybody else says about your gambling addiction. Go cash out your 401k and put it all on red. You deserve this, man. Life's too short to be worrying about the future. It is kind of sad to see her audience is commenting these things on her video because she definitely has the right idea here. Not caring about what other people think about what you drive and having more money in your pocket is way more important. And it's going to serve you better your entire life. It's honestly really, really hard to watch all these people go out and make terrible financial decisions with auto loans and get into tens of thousands of dollars of debt, sometimes 60,000, sometimes 70,000 for something like a new BMW or a Mercedes. Unreliable vehicles that are also going to break down a lot, especially when they get into these high interest rate loans, when they can be paying as high as 10, 12, and sometimes on the crazy end of the spectrum, 20% interest rate on these loans. It's just really predatory. The hardest part is that as soon as they drive that car off the lot, it is losing a huge value instantly. And within the first couple of years, it loses nearly half of its value. POV, social media convinced you that your car wasn't good enough, so you got a car payment, and that's just one more nail in the coffin of your marriage and family being taken down by money stress to impress people who don't care. They often say that money is the leading cause of divorce in the United States, and it's no wonder because of clips like this. So many Americans have auto loans and are just in an extraordinary amount of auto loan debt. It's just crazy. And I can see that causing a lot of tension in the household. If you're living paycheck to paycheck every month, not knowing how you're going to afford the bills, and then you just have $1,000 a month car payment looming over your head, that's almost as much money as most people's mortgages and rents. It's no wonder that's a leading cause of divorce. Well, if these people are financing into super predatory car loans, I would at least hope they're getting a good car, right?
CarMax has to be stopped. This is a 2015 Nissan Altima S, meaning that it doesn't have a backup camera, base model, no frills, no features, and they want 12 grand for this. Check this out. Now this one's locked, I can't show you the inside. But check this out, 12 grand for a 2015 Nissan S with 126,000 miles. This thing's going to need a new transmission the moment you drive this off the lot. $308 a month for 72 months. Look at this, 72-month term without a down payment. Meaning you could put a down payment down and bring this down maybe 20 bucks, but you're still paying close to $300 a month in 2025 for a car with no backup camera, cloth seats, and a horrendous CVT. To top it off, look at this. They tried to polish the lights, but they didn't do a very good job.
I honestly thought that CarMax was straight up scamming people when I first saw this, because if you guys don't know, the Nissan Altimas from that year and some of the newer ones too, I think, have huge issues with their CVT transmissions where they were just grenading left and right. There might have been a lawsuit, don't quote me on that, but honestly, I was really surprised when I went into the used market to look up what the price should be. This is actually pretty close to what it ballparks for. You know, similar ones to this condition from this video I found for between $8,000 and $10,000, so it might be a little bit over asking price, but maybe there's a little bit of room for negotiation there. I guess exploding transmissions just don't affect the buyer's market for Nissan Altimas. Speaking of used car prices, let's watch this car salesman complain on the internet about how he hasn't been able to sell his used Mustang that's been sitting in the lot.
This car has been on our lot longer than I have, and I don't know why. Behind me is the 2023 Mustang GT Premium, and here's 3 reasons this car should be gone already. Reason number 1 that this car should be gone is it has just over 10,000 miles on it. That's only 5,000 miles a year. Reason number 2 this car should be gone is it's actually purple and not black. This paint color is called Purple Mischievous Metallic. Reason number 3 this car has to go. Listen to this exhaust. In all honesty, we just got this car in last night, and I just started today. But if you're watching this video, I can sell it to you for $42,991. Let me know in the comments, would you drive a purple Mustang?
Okay, well, I looked up the MSRP for a Mustang Premium GT back in 2023, and if you don't know what MSRP means, it means manufacturer's suggested retail price. This is the price that these car dealerships can sell a car for that's brand new, 0 miles, never driven before, at this price and still make good profit. So the MSRP of that car was $43,000. Brand new. And this car dealership is trying to sell it 2 years old with 10,000 miles for the same price it was brand new. Come on. This user commented, 43K. That's why. This person says $42,000 is basically how much it costs new. Exactly. How do car salesmen never know why a car sells, but all of us internet people do? It's not selling because it's overpriced, like everything that doesn't sell. Well, you see, the car salesmen know exactly what they're doing in this situation. They're overpricing the car by thousands and thousands of dollars, seeing if someone will bite and be, unfortunately dumb enough to not do any research whatsoever before buying the car, and they're going to blindly trust this salesman that they're getting a good deal and overpay by thousands and thousands of dollars. And the salesmen are banking on that type of person to buy the car. That's why they have it priced thousands and thousands of dollars over what it should be. If you're enjoying this video series, you can support us for completely free. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like the video, and maybe even leave a comment down below. That really helps us out a lot, and it's completely free. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it.